Next on ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend, ABC7 learning more about a deadly fire in the lower valley claiming the lives of multiple children, with authorities still investigating. And more questions than answers as Charlotte police released the dash cam body video showing the moments leading up to the fatal shooting of a black man. And the manhunt in the Northeast comes to a close with a suspect from the deadly mall shooting there now in custody. And a storm track weather, Stephen.
A first alert is in effect. Wet conditions returning to the borderland and very windy and much cooler than what we have been seeing. I'll have all those details coming up.
It's all the news you need to start your Sunday, September 25th. ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend starts right now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso Weekend.
Well, good morning, El Paso, and thank you for joining us. I'm Andrew J. Polk. We start with breaking news this morning. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says it has arrested a man in connection to a murder that happened last night. It happened on the 10,000 block of Donna Marie around 8 p.m. Deputies say the Socorro Police Department responded to a call of shots fired. When police arrived, they found 67-year-old Linda Rosales dead with a gunshot wound. Socorro police requested the El Paso Sheriff's Office take over the investigation. Deputies now say that Rosales' husband, 68-year-old Jose Rosales, is the one who shot her after the couple had an argument. Jose Rosales was arrested and booked into the El Paso County Detention Facility under a $500,000 bond. He is charged with murder. But getting to our storm track weather now, because we do have a first alert in place. Let's get your first forecast with storm track meteorologist Stephen Decatur. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Andrew. We're already starting to see some showers pop up this morning. I do expect it to be a mostly dry day. Most of that rain should hold off until the day on Monday, but you can see already dealing with some pop-up showers in the area. 66 in El Paso, cloudy conditions, 60 in Las Cruces, and again, you can see those rain showers beginning to pop up now, just very spotty in nature, but there was one earlier just on the south side of Las Cruces drifting over toward the Oregon Mountains, and then in East El Paso on Loop 375, far eastern areas seeing some showery activity. Wind advisories are in effect. It's a little breezy this morning, but by the end of the day, winds will be gusting over 40 miles an hour. Wind advisories in effect from 6 p.m. this evening until 6 p.m. Monday. And again, more wet weather is expected in the area. I'll have a closer look at that coming up. Andrew?
All right, thanks, Stephen. Check back in just a bit. There's some more breaking news now. The U.S. Coast Guard said Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez has been killed in a boating accident. Happened earlier this morning in Miami Beach. This is a picture of the man killed. The U.S. Coast Guard says Fernandez was one of 3 people killed in the crash. Marlins did not immediately release details other than releasing a statement confirming the death of one of the top pitchers in baseball. In the statement, the Marlins say that they are, quote, devastated by the tragic loss of Jose Fernandez. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this very difficult time, end quote. The Marlins game that was scheduled today against the Atlanta Braves has since been canceled. And crimes against person and fire officials are still working to find out the cause of a fire that turned deadly Friday evening. Happened at a trailer park on the 400 block of Newell Hayes Street in El Paso's Lower Valley. Yesterday, family members and neighbors learned the fire killed 3 children, all under the age of 10 years old. ABC7's Jerry Nahara went to the site of the fire yesterday. Residents he spoke with told him that they are heartbroken over the deaths. He brings us more on this story.
Many of the nearby residents I spoke with witnessed the tragic events. They say at the time they didn't even know there were children inside the home. Many of them tell me the family had only lived there about 2 months. In this video sent to us by Elsa Broadbent, you can hear the fire roar and crackle as fire crews began to douse the blaze. Rita Puente says her daughter was telling her to get out of her home, only 2 spaces away. They all thought the mobile homes were going to catch fire, Puente said. Nearby resident Suset Osorneo says the flames were high and the home was coming down. Puente says the elderly man inside escaped out of a window and was bleeding from his stomach, but she says he managed to pull out a young boy. The man jumped out of the window and cut himself on all of the glass, Puente tells me. By nighttime, you can see all that was left was a frame of the home.
There was a lot of smoke.
Destiny Hidalgo used to live in the mobile home that went up in a blaze. Her mother rented the home to the family. Saturday afternoon, Hidalgo's family was beginning to clear out the piles of burnt wood. You can see kids from the park left behind stuffed animals, 1 for each child who died. It was really bad. Those poor kids. I cried all night, Puente said. And as I was going live at 5 p.m. on Saturday, a woman rushed to the side of the burnt mobile home and she went through piles of wood, pulling out children's clothes, burnt and torn. She grabbed them, smelled them, and began crying. Residents told me it was the children's stepmother who cared for them in that home. Our archives show the last time there was multiple children who died in a house fire was in 2012 in northeast El Paso, where 2 young boys died. I'm Jerry Nakira with ABC7.
And El Paso police are asking for your help in finding those responsible for a deadly stabbing in downtown El Paso. First brought this to you as breaking news yesterday on Good Morning El Paso weekend. Police say it was a 19-year-old that was stabbed and killed in Union Plaza. According to police, it happened just after 2 Saturday morning after an argument between 2 groups of people. The fight then escalated, turned physical, and that's when police say the man was stabbed. He was taken to UMC where he later died. If you have any information, you have to call Crime Stoppers of El Paso at that number there at the bottom of your screen, 566-8477. And later yesterday morning, a man in northeast El Paso was sent to a hospital after he was stabbed outside a Dollar Tree store seen here. It's happened on the 5100 block of Fairbanks at Rush Point. Our crews found the scene blocked with red tape. There's no word yet on that man's condition, and police say no arrests have been made there either. And police say the manhunt for the gunman who killed several people in a Washington State mall is now over. Last night, police arrested 20-year-old Arkan Seton. He says he immigrated from Turkey but is a legal U.S. resident. Seton is from Oak Harbor, Washington. According to police, he walked into a Macy's store Friday and opened fire, killing 5 people. After the attack, the man took off along Interstate 5, about an hour north of Seattle. Witnesses described a chaotic scene with people running, unsure of where to seek safety.
The most chaotic I've seen in a while, and the most chaotic that to me it's ever been here. I wouldn't think this would even happen here, so I'm shocked.
Police are still searching for a motive in the shooting as well. And Charlotte police have released a new video showing the fatal shooting of a black man on Tuesday, but the video isn't settling questions about whether the man threatened police with a gun before he was killed by a police officer. The body cam video shows an officer running up to other officers who are facing Keith Lamont Scott. The footage does not show the moment Scott was shot, but it shows him on the ground afterwards. And neither video shows him pointing a gun at officers. However, police also released photographs of a gun and an ankle holster from the scene. Lawyers for Scott's family continue to cast doubt on the police account.
Those actions, do those precious seconds justify this shooting? That is the most important question that has to be answered.
Police also released a more detailed timeline of the incident. They say 2 undercover officers saw Scott rolling up what appeared to be a joint. They initially ignored him because they were preparing to execute a separate arrest warrant, but they decided to arrest Scott after they saw him holding up a gun. Police say Scott got out of his car, but he refused repeated orders to drop his weapon. And a chance at redemption. Switching gears now, after 2 rough games against UT and Army, UTEP faced a big challenge trying to come back after starting 1-2 so far this season. So could the Miners pull out a win against conference foe Southern Miss? To start the game, Aaron Jones definitely made his mark, 68 yards through the defense to the end zone for the early 7-3 lead. Things looking very good for UTEP to start. Then bad news for Miners fans. It just went downhill from there. The game got ugly before the first half as the Golden Eagles went into the half up 24-7. And then the final score 34-7 as UTEP falls now to a record of 1-3 on the year. As for NMSU, Doug Martin looking for a little bit of revenge out in Alabama. The Aggies had a solid first drive, but couldn't get any points on the board after a failed 4th-and-1 attempt. The Troy Trojans would then score during their first drive for the early 7-0 lead, and NMSU would just not be able to hold off Troy's defense. The Aggies fall badly on the road, 52-6. We'll have your highlights and post-game reaction for both UTEP and NMSU a little later in sports. With lots of construction signs and orange barrels all around the borderland, there could be a little bit of hope to get things moving a little bit faster and getting more people able to do the jobs right here.
This is my first time ever driving a skid steer or ever actually sitting behind a wheel of these. So.
Just last week, Carla Gress was working at Wendy's, but that could all change for her now because of a highway construction training program brought to the borderland in partnership with the University of Texas at Arlington, TxDOT, and others.
I think I'm doing okay. I mean, I'm excited, but it's my first time, so.
Many of the students now using this heavy equipment had never even touched something like this before this class started. But now they're learning skills on things like backhoes, excavators, skid steers that they can use to further their careers.
We give them basic training, teach them basic functions. We can't go too fast with them just based upon their experience, right? Our main thing here is safety. So we want to give them the normal operations of the equipment, and hopefully they can take this opportunity and take it into the construction field.
And there are a lot of opportunities around right now and coming up in the near future, estimated to top $1 billion just in the El Paso region alone.
There's just no shortage of highway construction jobs coming up. This is really going to be a big economic driver for El Paso.
And some of that need could be filled by these students, like Isaac Heredia, who saw the original ABC7 report about this program and applied.
I found out through your piece on ABC7 at noon. I was there at home eating lunch, and I saw this your story come out. And as a result, I applied within 30 minutes and tried to get in this program as fast as possible.
Only 30 students got into the training program this time around. UT Arlington is planning on bringing it back to the area next year. There'll also be a job fair for students at the end of this training. To find out more, particularly if you're a contractor that might be interested in hiring them, you can click on this story over on KVIA.com. A new museum celebrating African American history has opened in Washington, D.C. How President Obama will welcome all Americans to the museum, what he says this means for the nation, coming up. And it is 8:11 right now, taking a live look at traffic this morning. A bit brighter out there, but still not much traffic going on. Few vehicles going either way, but otherwise moving very smoothly near I-10 and Schuster near the UTEP campus, and no major problems to report across the borderland. And Storm Track weather, Stephen.
Big changes are coming. We are under a first alert. I'll have all those details coming up.
Watching ABC7, where news comes first.
Everyone